Hi everyone, today I want to talk to you about Agile portfolio management. This has become a hot topic in our organization as we've got lots of stories that we're trying to figure out how they relate to each other and how they roll up to an overall epic or a feature. So this is what it kind of looks like today. We've got lots of sticky notes pretty much all over our building as well as in Rally, and we're having a hard time to try to figure out how those relate to an overall epic or a feature that the customer's asking for us to deliver. So let me go into a little bit terminology. When I talk about a PSI, I'm talking about a potentially shippable increment. One PSI is 4 sprints. One sprint is 2 weeks long. An epic is 8 weeks or greater and less than a year. Those epics can be architectural, infrastructure, or customer related. A feature is less than 8 weeks and is customer facing. An enabler is 8 weeks and non-customer facing. And a story is less than 2 weeks. And when I talk about roadmap, I'm talking about a collection of PSIs. And then when I talk about portfolio, I'm talking about everything that's needing to be worked on at some point that somebody has signed up for. So let me show you the general picture. You can see up on the top we've got our epics, and then we've got our architecture and technology roadmap, and then those things get busted up into enablers and features that then fit into an 8-week time frame, and then those features and enablers then get broken into stories that then fit in 2-week time boxes. So you can see I've got multiple teams down here planning to work on multiple features that could relate to multiple epics. The next slide is kind of the flow of how things work. So on the left you can see we've got investment allocation. This has been set by the director or by your CIO, and he or she would say we need to invest in these certain areas, and this is how much we need to allocate within our PSI. So you got this giant funnel of everything that's coming in. They can be anything from new acquisitions to business opportunities to upcoming ideas, or as well as maybe there's some continuous improvement that needs to be done. So once you've classified those, you can kind of put them in different buckets. So you can see here that I've got the this is a certain class, this is a second class, third class, and fourth class. And then what happens is we bust up Epic A into multiple features. So you can see I've got feature 1, feature 2, feature 3. Those are ideally planned for one PSI, and then I've got a couple additional features that are planned for the additional PSIs. You can also see that I've got WIP in progress limits, or work in progress limits, that limit how many features can be put into one PSI. So during this time, the architects and maybe the teams are getting together to try to figure out how to break those epics into features and how to fit them into a specific PSI. Once we fit them into a PSI, then we go to the team draft. This is where the team is going to be shown a list of features that would be related to a PSI, and they're going to simply pick what they want to work on, but we're going to set the priority and we're going to set the investment allocation. So what it kind of looks like is we are simply going to allocate, prioritize, and then draft. So with that, let me show you kind of a demo of this tool called Stratus that I've been working on with the folks over at Rally. So like I said, we've got 3 epics. Those show up in our portfolio. We've got our roadmap, our implementation column, our done and deployed. So the first thing we need to do is we need to break up these epics into features. So what I'm going to do is I've already actually done it. So you can see we've got multiple features listed here, and we're going to go to the roadmap column. And now what we're going to do is we're going to plan these inside of multiple PSI. So I'm just going to click and drag them into each PSI that we think we're going to be able to fit them into. So you can see I've got a couple different PSIs lined here, and I'm just going to simply try to fill them up as much as I can. Alright, so once we've filled up our PSI and we've worked with our team and worked with our architects and we've come up with estimates in terms of story points, we now put those into PSI 3. So then the next stage we would go to our plan tab and we would go to PSI 4, I believe. Actually PSI 3. And you can see now I've got a bunch of features and they've all been story pointed by the teams that are going to be working on them. And on the right hand side you can see I've got 3 teams, and each team has told me what their capacity is for this next PSI. So one team's got 100, another team's got 125, and another team's got 130. So during release planning, what we'd simply do is ask the teams which team would like to work on the first feature. We'd select it, and then we'd assign it to the first team. And maybe this team would also like to work on the second one, and we're just going to simply allocate it. Now you can see they're at 80% allocation, and that's probably good enough for us to do release planning. If we go anything over 80%, we're probably going to run the risk of that feature not getting implemented. So then again, we'd simply just assign them to our next, keep assigning them until we've simply allocated each team with a certain amount of features planned for that PSI. So you can see here that I try to assign a feature to a team, and it simply puts them way over their allocation. So what I'm going to do is unassign it to them, and then I'm going to choose maybe the next feature and then assign that to them. So you can see that one team's kind of under allocated and two teams are pretty full. So our only option would be then to take this epic and try to break this feature that has 125 points and break it into a smaller set of stories. So then once we've done that, we're going to go over to our Analyze tab, and we can now see that here's what our target is, and as we begin to start working on things, our actual should show up. So let me go to PSI 3, and you can simply see that in this example that I did for you that the plan is way off from our target. So what we'd have to do then is we'd have to go back to planning and try to readjust some features, and then once we start working on things, then our PSI is going to get updated. So back on the Kanban board, what you can see is now we've got everything in our roadmap, and now it's time to simply start working on them. So if I go to feature 3C and I start working on it, you can see that if I simply put it in progress, now it should show up as being in progress. If I just refresh this page, you can see now that it automatically moves to implementation, and then at some point when those features or when those stories become done, I'll simply just move everything to the done column or accepted, and then once I've done that, the product manager would then simply be able to see that that specific epic has been done. So again, that's the Stratus page. I'd like to give a big thanks to some special folks, Dean Leffingwell, who's kind of come up with this portfolio page. I've also been working with Stephen Chen. He's really the one who came up with the thoughts behind Stratus, and then the good folks over at Rally for listening to my ideas. I believe that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, let me know. Alright, thanks everyone.